sorry, the last subject of this semester of this course is about the site plan, and we normally indicate it with 1/200 scale. However, as we talked before, it doesn't need to be necessarily in 1/200 scale. We determine the scale according to the sizes of the building and the plot that we are working on it, because the site plan is basically, even if we call it a plan, we don't cut anything horizontally. That's the top view of the design building in its context. And we just need to imagine ourselves that we are above the building, above the designed area, and it's usually not just the building, it's the whole area, and it doesn't need to be necessarily limited with the boundaries of the plot area. It's the general area that we designed in its context, and we are above this organization and we are looking down. That's what we need to draw. We need to indicate everything that we see, and the scale can be determined according to the size of this area. If it's too big, we can draw the site plan in 1/500 or 1/1000, or if there are very important things that we need to show in the near surrounding or in the far surrounding, again, we can change the scale into 1/500, 1/1000, 1/2000, something like that. Or let's say that we are designing a very small area, then we can change the scale of the site plan to 1/100, something like that. But apart from the scale, the important thing is we need to show the building in its near surrounding, in its context. That's very important. And just imagine yourself that you are looking from above. You need to draw what you see. You are going to see the upper surfaces of the buildings or any other 3D objects, like the garden walls, maybe the trees, the cars, and all the horizontal surfaces or sloping surfaces. It doesn't matter if it's a covered surface or if it's an uncovered surface. You just need to draw what you see. Of course, generally, as the architects, these are the things that we designed. So we need to first do the design, come up with all the decisions about this area, and then we can consider, we can start imagining what we are going to see when we look down. And we are going to do these things in its top views. And it doesn't need to be necessarily in wilderness. It can be a plot area or a designed area in an urban environment. So again, it will be the same. Let's imagine that this is the plot, the building that we designed, and these are the neighbor buildings and neighbor roads, the sidewalks, as you can see. And we need to look down and draw what we see. This is the top view of our building. These are the top view of our neighbors here, there, and these are the top view of the streets and sidewalks and trees and cars and people, and go on, so on. It should express the plot and its near surrounding, the other plots and buildings, neighbor buildings, roads, streets, sidewalks, open spaces like squares, parks, green areas, slope of the terrain with the contour lines, and we need to indicate the covered surfaces, the uncovered surfaces, and things like that. So we are going to learn how we can do that. I think you will remember that we, in our previous previous courses, we talked about the organization styles, there are two different types. One is the separated buildings. In this organization, we have plots, and the buildings should be positioned in the middle of the plot, and there should be some garden space left. So the building cannot be adjacent to a nearby building, a neighbor building, or it cannot be adjacent to the sidewalk. And when we look down, this is what we are going to see. And we need to decide about the sizes of the site plan. And the building that we designed, the plot area that we designed, or the designed area should be centered in the site plan. So let's say that this is our concerned area. Drawing just only the building will not be enough. The top view of the building will not be enough. We need to indicate the plot. And of course, we need to design the whole area, not just the building, all the plot area. And we need to indicate the neighboring plots and neighboring buildings, not just the adjacent ones, but the whole area. And these two, and maybe these again. And we need to indicate the roads. Again, not just the connected road. We need to indicate this one, and there is this very big blower, as you can see. So that's how we can decide about the sizes of that site plan. This is an important transportation road, the transportation network, and it affects the design decisions. So when I want to do the site plan, it will be better for me to show that road so that it gives me a clue how to determine the size of the site plan. And to draw the site plan, we can either use an aerial view like this, or from the municipalities, we can find maps. These are the maps that are being drawn by the engineers, and they provide us the maps in AutoCAD format. And we can either plot it and place a sketching paper over it, and we can redraw the important things for us as the architects, because as you can see, there are many signs and numbers and some symbols. These are the things that are done by the engineers, and it's not the way how we represent our designs. We need to be careful about the line types and line weights and the things that we need to show it. So we need to copy certain things and change their line weights, and we need to show some other stuff. So if we are using a map like this, we should always know that when you position the map according to the text directions, like these numbers, as you can see, or let's get a little bit closer. There are some numbers here, and when we position the paper like this, the numbers that are in true position, that we can read them, we should know that north is this direction. Always in the maps, always the north is the upper part of the paper when it's positioned like this. So if you are using a map created by engineers, we have to know that the north is in the upper part of the paper. So we can either keep the north as it is, or we can reposition it. When we are copying the important things, we can reposition the north. It doesn't necessarily have to direct the upper part of the paper like this. It can be like that or like this. However, we shouldn't keep the north like that or like that or like that. Okay, it should always direct the upper part of the paper. However, it doesn't need to be a 90-degree angle. It can have an acute angle. So in this example, it will be better for us to rotate the drawing a little bit so that these streets and the lines of the buildings will be parallel to our paper. And when we do that, the north will be like that. So that's okay. That's something that we can do. That's good. And about the size, in my opinion, if there isn't any important building, any important transportation network, or any important other environmental factor near surrounding, it should at least include 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, and in this direction, 3 neighbors. So that's the minimum, in my opinion, minimum size of a site plan. And as you can see, the design area should be centered. If we cannot do that, if it's too big, if we can either change the scale, like instead of doing 1/200, we can prefer doing 1/500, or we can resize it. And again, it should be centered, and we should, like this here, we should at least have 2 neighbors, 2 neighboring plots with all the streets and other stuff. So this is the basic definition for a site plan.